You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club, and we have a special guest, another family member.
Yeah, the Hood's second favorite doctor. Dr. Miami comes first.
Dr. Miami. Oh, my goodness.
No, Dr. Dre, Dr. Miami, then Dr. Oz.
Well, number 3's not bad with that list.
Good company.
Good company.
We're so glad you're here. We need you for so many reasons this morning. All right, first of all.
What's going on with you, Yee?
No, there's a lot of things going on that I feel like Dr. Oz can help clear up.
What you need?
There's fake doctors running around.
Yep.
Okay.
I saw that.
Dr. Love. And then we also have Hillary Clinton and her health as an issue. And I see Donald Trump is going to be.
Well, I invited both candidates to come on the show.
Okay.
And Mr. Trump's coming on first. He'll be on Thursday, and we're going to talk a little bit about his health. But the whole, this has become a campaign issue now, right? The candidates talking about their stamina and their endurance and their energy level, and whether they have other health problems. So I'm just going to try to give them a safe place to talk about it if they want to talk about it.
Has this always been an issue in presidential campaigns? Are medical records something that they always have to be forthright with?
So until the 70s, no. In fact, we were lied to. Like when FDR was towards the end of his presidency and he was having strokes, no one told anybody. And President Kennedy was on narcotics for his back pain. And these are big issues. But in the 70s, there was a vice presidential candidate who had electroshock therapy for depression. And when they found out, the press made a big deal about it, and he resigned. So he pulled out of the election. So since then, it's become a bit more open. And of late, it's been fairly commonly done. So I think it's reasonable to release records, but of how much you release is your personal decision. We can't bully people to release their records. But I think the public wants to know, are you healthy enough and strong enough to be able to lead us? Because it's a big job, obviously. It takes a lot of energy. Campaigning this.
Because she's been coughing a whole lot. She's passed out recently. Should we be concerned?
When she was here on the Breakfast Club, she had a coughing fit. You coughing like you got some medicinal.
Yeah, I need to.
She did.
Yes.
Well, I'm not her doctor, and I'm not involved in her care. And so the etiquette in medicine is if you don't know a patient and their doctor, and they don't give you permission, you don't talk about them. So I really don't know how big a deal this is. Obviously, we're all worried that make sure she gets better quickly. I'm very happy that she decided to pull back a little bit in her activities because it gives your body a chance to help you. I can tell you that she's got very good docs who are, doing meticulously going to be watching everything that happens with her. So I trust them to do what's right for her, and she'll talk about it when she's ready.
Right, and I'm sure a lot of times we get exhausted just as ordinary people running around doing everything we got to do in everyday life. Yeah. So we can imagine Hillary Clinton would be exhausted too from running around.
I have no idea how either of them do it. I mean, my goodness, they're 70 and 68 roughly, right? Yeah. And they're, going 24/7, and it is a schedule that would exhaust any normal person.
Right.
I don't know how they have a voice left even. But, they're driven individuals.
So has Hillary Clinton said she'll come on the show also?
We're still
to
talking.
Discuss her health?
We're still talking.
Okay.
And now, why do you have a tube of mashed sweet potatoes, Dr. Oz?
You have the
cheese.
Charlamagne, when you came out, you're on the show too, by the way, this week. You're supposed to bring the chips. You brought the chips?
No, I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, God, come on now.
Okay.
All right, so this is a little bit of plaster. I'll tell you why I brought it for you. So for everyone who's listening on the radio, I'm going to describe it to you carefully, and we're going to get some participation from the DJs here. Okay. So we got this big program we're launching today called the Regimen, right? And the Regimen is a daily checklist that you can use, simple, straightforward, medically vetted, that allows you to make some smart decisions in your life. It includes things like try oolong tea, which is a tea that it has less caffeine in it, but gives a lot of energy to you because it has other phenols, other chemicals in it that are valuable.
Better than green tea?
Think of green tea like a green banana. And black tea is like a black, overly ripe banana. Okay. So oolong tea is a yellow banana. It's right in the middle.
Never knew that.
So it's something you can try.
I actually use that too.
You do? Oh, yeah. I'm so proud of you.
I try every type of tea. Yeah.
But I want you having prebiotics and probiotics. Probiotics, obviously, the bacteria in your gut. You're mostly not you. There's 10 times more bacteria in your gut than cells in your body. But you want to have the food to feed that bacteria too, which is called prebiotics. Things like green apples have prebiotics. Cabbage has prebiotics in it. So you want to feed the bacteria. So I want this checklist is all on Dr. Oz. Like my app launched today, by the way.
Oh, congratulations.
So thanks. So it's a very simple, free, easy way to figure out what you got to do. But one of the reasons it's important is because the number one cause of problems, death in particular, but causes impotence, wrinkles, and other things is hardening of the arteries. So I brought you your own demo to understand why people get hardening of the arteries and try to break through some of the clutter. So
I want to keep my arteries soft. I want to keep my arteries soft so my stays hot.
That is so well stated. As always, perfectly articulated. He was so good in the show, by the way.
Yeah, I'm on Dr. Oz.
And I did not have to bleep anything he said. Mostly, I am lying.
And I wore a suit for the doctor.
I wore a suit. I didn't recognize him. I didn't recognize him.
Yes.
All right. So describe what you see here.
This is an artery.
Yes, it's got red on the inside.
It could be a bong.
It's like a
Could be a bong.
Could be a bong.
Yeah, it's like a massive bong, right?
Okay.
So if back over there, I've got a couple things. I've got a little glass here. This glass represents the sugar in your body. So people say, especially in the community, they say, I got a little bit of sugar. There's no such thing as a little bit of sugar. It's like being a little bit pregnant. When you got sugar, right. When you got sugar in your body, when you have blood sugar that's high, you have a little bit of diabetes, it's like having broken pieces of glass shard inside your body. Now, the lining of the arteries is very thin little lining, like Teflon lining. Now watch what happens. I take this sugar and I begin to scrape at this. When I scrape at it, I begin to tear holes.
Oh,
Yikes.
All right, and those holes become problems because blood can seep into those holes, and more importantly, the body doesn't want to have any holes in the arteries because there's not supposed to be any holes there, right? It's like having a hole in the inner tube. That's blood sugar. Now, what about blood pressure? Blood pressure is like having a hammer,
Right.
right? And the hammer,
Oh.
you can hear that. You bang a hole in the artery, and when you bang a hole in the artery, now you really have to fix it. So how does the body fix it? Well, if you're sitting in the studio here and I bang a hole in that wall behind you, Charlamagne, how do you fix it?
Got to get plaster.
Got to get plaster.
You call it plaster?
Yeah, what's the body's plaster called?
I don't know.
Cholesterol.
Okay.
It's called cholesterol.
Okay.
So you get this sloppy little cholesterol stuff, and you start to splackle it in there.
That's the bad cholesterol.
That's the
bad
mashed sweet
cholesterol.
potatoes.
That's the mashed sweet potatoes you were talking about. It does look like sweet potatoes and putty, right? It looks like
And
cream-
cheese.
And cheese.
But
So
like
you-
that cheese
You get
whiz.
this
Schmegma.
cruddy schmegma, right?
It just looks like schmegma.
Look like smegma.
Schmegma's white.
Sure, you get that cruddy layering in there,
Right.
and that's called atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. So let's go back for a second. If you don't have a hole in the artery from high blood pressure, if you haven't scraped up the artery from high sugar, if you haven't damaged it with cigarettes, then you don't have to
You don't
repair
have
it.
the
Right.
cholesterol.
So you don't care about cholesterol. That's why people get so fixated on their cholesterol. But what they should really be focused on is what's causing the holes in the artery. Now, if you do have a cholesterol issue, you want to know what kind of cholesterol it is. So if it's healthy HDL cholesterol, that means you got a beautiful spackling that's so smooth you can't tell it's there.
Okay.
But
If you got lousy
LDL.
LDL cholesterol, exactly, you have what I have here, which is this really cruddy looking stuff that's about
Frumpy
to
stuff,
fly
yeah.
off.
I
And
didn't know
that-
it was healthy cholesterol.
Yeah.
healthy HDL. It's called HDL cholesterol.
Really? So
Yeah.
what kind of foods are those?
Fish oils, walnuts, flax seeds. The healthy fats give you more of the good HDL.
Gotcha.
Frankly, losing weight and doing sports automatically helps with the HDL.
Right.
Okay.
And gaining weight and not doing sports raises the bad LDL. And the LDL cholesterol is like like the Thanksgiving float is banging around and hitting all the buildings with cholesterol inside of it. Imagine that it was full of this fat cholesterol and it just spewed it into your body. That's what happens with LDL cholesterol. So
You know, people love to say I fat shame when all I want people to do is be healthy because it is a health risk.
I think they're just being personal with you, trying to take advantage of your kindness and good looks.
He calls him fatso, and he calls him what
No,
else?
I don't. I do not say
call him
fatso.
What else
No,
do you
I
call him?
don't. I just say you're fat. Like, why not just say you're fat?
Because some people have reasons, like if they're suffering from depression, going through things in their life, that they don't need to hear, you're fat, you're fat.
Yada, yada,
There's
yada.
different
But you know,
ways can go
the
through
thing, the
things.
thing with being, frankly, if anything you're addicted to, food's an example, but it's true of almost anything else. Is when you tell people they got a problem with it, well, they already knew that. People can look in the mirror and see they're heavy. They can see that they don't like that they smoke. So when I tell people they smoke, and it's bad for them, they get nervous and anxious about it, and they feel worse about themselves. So what do? They go smoke to relax. In fact, I don't operate on smokers. I tell them I care about you too much to operate on you. We're going to work together, but until you quit, I won't operate. And I say, look around the room, and people care about you, right? These people came to my office with you because they love you. All I want you to do is love yourself as much as they love you, and you'll be fine.
So that's very different than saying you're fat.
Yes, that's
no,
true.
I tell people that if you really love yourself, like I don't trust.
That's
If you're
amazing.
fat and you tell somebody that I love you, no, you don't, because you don't really love yourself. If you really love yourself, lose some weight.
Yeah,
It sounds easy.
Yeah, I got a genetic test on myself this summer, and I was shocked by what I found. So I thought genetic tests would tell me about whether I'm going to get cancer or heart disease or whatever. This genetic test told me that I crave fats, but I don't like carbs that much, genetically.
Okay.
Now, why is that important? Because most of us get heavy because we eat too many carbs.
Right.
So if you genetically crave carbohydrates, then you're going to be having a tough time cutting back on them.
Because you're going to be overweight.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good, right? Because it stimulates dopamine, and it is comfort food, so you're going to eat more of it. So when people who are skinny say, just stop eating carbs, well, it's not that easy. It's
Now, if you're
actually,
genetically predisposed.
yeah, it's like
to-
just run faster. Well, I mean, if I could run faster, I would, but I'm just not as fast as the other guy.
But don't you got to balance that genetics out by working out? Like if you
Yes,
know that?
but now that we know that more and more that our basic behaviors are driven by our genes, you do have to balance it out, but you should know what your weaknesses are. So if you know you got a weakness with carbs, which people sort of figured out over their life, they just can't have any carbs. I mean, they really just, because you can't, it's like having alcohol. If you have an alcohol problem, you just can't have a little bit of alcohol. You
Right.
literally have to just stop. So you draw lines where you say, okay, I'm not going to cross the border there.
Got you.
Now, they say some people also are genetically predisposed to having high cholesterol. Is there truth to that?
Well, for sure. 5% of the cholesterol problem is all your genes.
Yikes.
Right, 5%. Those people have a really big problem, and but they're medications that work pretty well for them.
Right.
But the other 90%, 95% of people who have high cholesterol could really make a big dent in it by eating a better diet and losing a little bit of weight. And for them, it's better to actually lose the weight than just try to take a pill. It's like if you sprinkle a little bit of a statin drug, a Lipitor on a kielbasa, it's not the same. It's just not eating the kielbasa. Right. If you have the macaroni cheese meatball stuff, it's you can put drugs on it, but it's not quite the same as not having it.
What is this rich meal you talking about?
Kielbasa is Polish sausage.
Oh, okay.
It's street food.
Sausage.
That's why I brought it up. I love kielbasa.
Yeah, I like kielbasa too.
Yeah.
The question now, a lot of people are getting the common cold. The cold is starting to come around. Angela Yee just got the cold, and I'm getting a little sniffle. What can we do to prevent the common cold?
Wear condoms.
So yeah, condoms for sure. You two should both be wearing protection. Don't you love
I'm
him?
married. I got
I know. I'm humoring him. Please, I'm humoring him. So number one thing for your immune system, actually, it's part of the regimen, is to sleep. It's the single most underappreciated
I've been
problem.
doing that more.
I always say that whenever I start feeling sick, it's because I don't get enough sleep. That's always the reason.
It weakens your immune system and actually predisposes you to other problems. In fact, the high blood pressure with the hammer I talked about earlier, that hammer, that's caused by not sleeping as well. One of the best ways to get it down is to start sleeping a little more effectively.
Right.
So that's one. Number two is there are some folks that think that elderberry might help. It's an herbal treatment that's old and been used in Europe for many years. Physical activity actually helps.
Right.
But you can't do it if you're exhausted.
Emergency and stuff like that?
It's never been shown in clinical trials to be beneficial. It makes theoretical sense, which is why they sell a lot of the stuff. But when you actually try to use it in people, it's hard. But here's the thing. If you're starting to feel the sniffles and you start taking a product like that, and then you start also sleeping better, and maybe cutting out alcohol for a night or two, well, you're going to get better. Right. Time will make you better. So it's hard to tell if it was the pill that got you better or your other changes that you made. If you're smart enough to take the pill, you're probably smart enough to do other things as well.
We don't stress the importance of sleep enough in our culture, especially in hip hop, because you had Nas saying sleep is the cousin of death, and Diddy's like hustlers don't sleep.
But Diddy has since reneged on that and said that he was wrong.
Yeah, because he's almost 50. Better get a nap.
Now, he's sleeping now, and I think it's, as you point out, it's actually worse. It's a sign of weakness, right? Sleeping is a sign of weakness. A real man, real woman don't have to sleep, and it's the opposite.
How much sleep should we get a night?
So
Or a day, I should say.
Yeah, so 5% of people can get away with less than 6 hours a night. Everybody else needs to sleep more. So if you're one of those folks out there and you think, I can get away with less than 6 hours, unless you're really special, 1 in 20 people, that's not you. You're actually conning yourself. So the way you can tell if you're sleeping enough is if you wake up with a little bit of a dream. You should have dreams you remember when you wake up. If you don't ever dream, you're not sleeping enough.
I never dream.
Yeah, so that means that you're
all the time, and I dream in color.
You do all kinds of colors.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you want to have, because REM sleep means REM is the restorative sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep. You need that in order to truly recharge your brain. So if you're not getting the REM sleep, which is the dream sleep, then it means that you're not truly letting your brain relax.
Now, what if you sleep in portions? Like, okay, go home, take a nap for an hour, then go to bed at night for 4 hours, and
so Leonardo da Vinci, probably the most famous smart man ever, right? Would never sleep more than 2 hours a night. But he would nap all day long.
So napping is good.
Napping is good. So I nap personally. So here's how you do it usually. So 8 hours after you get up, you should feel like you're tired. You're supposed to.
Right.
And so you should try to take a nap. You can take coffee and this pill or that pill, but the best way to do it is just lie down for just 5-10 minutes. And what I do is I drink. You can have a little chocolate, a little coffee right before you fall asleep, because then when you wake up, you won't feel groggy at all, and you don't want to sleep more than about 10 minutes. Because that's just enough to get you into that nice light sleep, feel recharged, but not deep enough to make you groggy, which you want to avoid. And then if you can make that part of your routine, your regimen, I tell you, it's a home run.
How often do you do that? Sleep 10 minutes?
No,
Every 2 hours?
No. So Charlamagne was on the show. We tape 2 shows a day. We tape at 10 in the morning. We tape at 3 in the afternoon. In between, I have lunch, right? And for that hour lunch period, I eat for half of it, and then I nap for about 10 minutes.
You get the itis.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
What's the best way to settle your brain before you go to sleep at night? Because I read something that said you shouldn't get on the internet or shouldn't get on social media before 2 hours prior to sleeping. So
I usually tell people for 20 to 30 minutes, because 2 hours they won't do anyway. But it's not just the internet; it's the light. When you look at a pad or a phone, that light is turning off your brain's ability to make melatonin, and melatonin is the chemical, the hormone in the brain that tells you it's nighttime. So you need to give your brain a chance. So when you go out, I don't know if you ever go camping, but if you go outside and you're going and you're you've seen the sun go down. When the sun actually sets, those orange rays tell your brain to make melatonin.
Really?
And that melatonin is powerfully able to get you to say, okay, it's nighttime, time to go to bed. Now, when you're looking at a computer screen, you don't let those rays stimulate your brain. So they're making smart light bulbs now that don't emit the same UV light. So you can actually buy a light bulb that, although it looks white, it's actually not white. So I get those, and I can use them in my home. Just use it by the nightstand. So the last half an hour before you go to bed, you can use that to read the paper or whatever.
Gotcha.
But what you don't want to do is re-engage your brain with emails and texts and searching the web. And I know it's tempting to do that, but it stimulates your brain. It delays you getting to sleep.
What about sleeping with the TV on?
No, the worst. The worst.
Yeah, I can't sleep with the TV on. I can't
People
stand
do
it.
that. They think it helps them get to sleep. You're basically numbing yourself until you pass out. It's like having a drink before you go to bed. That's not why, if you're going to drink, do not drink at bedtime. That's not the time to drink because the sleep you get's not normal sleep when you have that.
Gotcha.
What about sex before bed? Like people always say, if
The
you can't
best.
sleep, sex,
Yeah, that's a great
masturbation.
idea.
Whatever you need to do. Anything that centers you, and that does. Meditation also works. But I think, look, the reason that sex is a great aphrodisiac is you can do it, be in love with the person you're with, and then you're zoned. You're in the right space to go to sleep.
Do you think social media is negatively affecting our mental health? You think it'll have like long-term effects on our brains?
So I won't guess on this. I actually have data. We have actually today the Oz report comes out, the state of women in America in 2016, and I did a big survey on 1,500 women, and I asked them questions like that. And so we have an epidemic of loneliness right now in America. People just feel like they're by themselves, and that you would think they wouldn't because they've got social media. But 60% of women only follow other women. They don't actually ever engage.
So it's a bunch of lonely women tweeting each other, telling each other how lonely they are.
But yeah, I mean, here's the bigger thing. Many women say they don't trust other women to talk to because they feel they're going to be catty or they're not going to be honored. But we need to change that because we've always been able to talk to each other. In fact, our brains are the size they are because we needed to be able to see each other's eyes and faces and respond and be empathetic and connect. And and we don't do that when you're just texting back. So I think the solution is not to get rid of social media, but to use social media for good. So, send a note out, say, I want to meet with you and have coffee or do something together. Just create a real experience at least once a day, independent of social media. Otherwise, you create these drive-by friendships. It seems like you got friends. You think you're close, but challenge yourself. Who would you go to if you really had a crisis that you really thought would get your back? And if you can't answer that question with a couple names, or if you don't think you're that person for someone else, then change that. Why not?
What do you think about the phone? They also say don't sleep with the phone near your head.
Well, the package insert in some of these phones tells you not to do that because so the phone is always on looking for messages, right? So it's sending out rays. So if it's within 5 feet of your head, there's some data that it might interfere with the quality of your sleep. So I say, why take a chance? Just put the phone 5 feet away. I'm not saying put it across the hall in a different room. 5 feet away from your head is perfect. That way you know for sure it's not bothering you. The newer phones and some of the cases do help with some of that exposure. So I think it's going to be less and less of an issue. But again, for now, 5 feet away.
Flat tummy tea and diet pills.
Oh, gosh.
What do you think about
you
flat
got
tummy
Instagram,
tea?
right?
I have Instagram, yeah.
You following the Instagram models?
What are the Instagram models?
Oh, let me show you, doctor.
Oh,
You right
Okay.
there. I
Well,
got
flat
you,
tummy
doctor.
tea is a product that people promote that said actually helps women lose that extra little pulge in their little stomach.
I love this. I got to learn
It's like
about
a
this.
detox tea, I think, really.
Well, I mean,
Does it work?
So detox teas per se are interesting because they might help. Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Who did you show them?
Oh, I go with the Bernice. I show them only the best.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
Bernice Burgos. Yes. She's more than an Instagram model, but yeah.
Okay.
You get the picture.
Yeah, I get the picture for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing about detox.
Get it together, doc.
Detox teas, exactly. I'm trying to focus. Detox teas, you can copy them. You can do them yourself because they basically are caffeine and some herbs that help you deal with hunger issues. So on DrOz.com, we've got some alternatives that are inexpensive because a lot of the detox teas are pretty pricey.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to spend a couple $100 on stuff when you can get it for $10 and use it all you want. I like teas a lot. I think they're medicinal. They always have been. I can't vouch for all of them that are in packages because you can't tell what's in them sometimes.
Right.
Gotcha.
And I know that they use caffeine as a foundation element, so a little bit of caffeine is good, but a lot's not.
Yeah, but these teas, these girls be promoting, advertise they can make your stomach flat, take away bloating, reduce your metabolism.
Well, again, bloating can be impacted by teas, and metabolism is definitely impacted by teas. It's a question is, it's too much of a good thing bad for you? Because I could whack you with a gram of caffeine, and that does those things, by the way. But you're going to feel jittery, and you're going to get really cratering when it wears off in a couple hours. Because listen, you want to have a lifestyle that takes you in the right direction. The quick fixes are nice for a couple of weeks of help here and there, but you're not going to base your life drinking these teas that you're discussing.
Right.
Some people do. They don't want to do no exercise. It's like, oh, let me drink the tea.
No, it's a short-term crutch to get to re-angle you in the right direction. It's like moving the steering wheel a little bit, but you don't want to keep turning it or you're going to run off the road.
Gotcha.
Now, let me ask what you think about Dr. Love, because we had a whole conversation about this the other morning, and whether or not
don't disrespect Dr. Oz by calling him Dr. Love, though.
This 19-year-old kid that was posing as a doctor. And, in jail. And Charlamagne feels like he shouldn't be in jail. He's really smart for being able to scam people into thinking he's a doctor.
17, created his own business and had patience.
Yeah.
I think he needs a shot at life.
Well, let's talk about, but you raise a bunch of issues. One of them is how well is jail working, someone like that. So he's clearly a gifted fella. And I think he's down in Palm Beach, right, in South Florida. Right. So I was watching just videos about how he'd gotten this stuff done. And I got to, you have to admire his ingenuity.
That's it.
All right. However, one of the biggest problems that America's had historically is people impersonating doctors and giving out stuff that's harmful. So there's a special covenant doctors are given with society. We're allowed to prescribe things and cut people open. Things that are normally called assault and battery, we're allowed to do legally.
Right.
And so you don't want people pretending they're doctors. And if you open that door, that barn door, a lot of stuff starts running outside. So there has to be a penalty. I have a personal concern about putting people in jail for nonviolent crimes. You want to dissuade them, but things like drugs are a good example. If you're taking drugs but not dealing them and you get put in jail, it just creates more problems.
Yeah.
So I wish there was more clever ways for us to hinder people from harming society, but especially when they're harming themselves even more. And that's actually, if I can say one thing about addiction, because we're going to be talking about that a lot this year, that is the one thing that has to change in America. We've been down in Washington lobbying for this, but these should not be criminal issues. They're not, because it's not a criminal problem. It's a medical problem.
It's more like a rehab.
Yeah. Who wants to be addicted to drugs? That's not. You don't go to jail for that.
Right.
You go to rehab.
But you had DJ Khaled on the show.
Oh, he's the best. I like him.
He's the best. Did you talk to him about losing weight?
I talked to him about his health. He has lost some weight, and he's losing more. He's on the regimen. He shared with me some of the things he's doing now. Listen, and I by the way, I learned the whole vocabulary. Bless up.
Bless up.
Yeah, bless up.
He doesn't change
Cloak talk.
He doesn't change his diet, though.
I think he's trying. So there's, I think some of it's genetic, with metabolism and the like. And some of it is that people, so he's Palestinian originally.
Right.
And so people in that part of the world, they couldn't eat a lot of carbohydrates because they get into trouble real quick. And so,
why? What do you mean?
Because genetically, some cultures, the people in those areas of the world were used to not having a ton of food. So if you move people who are very thrifty with their calories to a part of the world where there are a lot of calories,
right,
you don't just shift in one generation.
You get fat immediately.
Yeah. So people from the subcontinent of India the same way. So American Indians, out in the Pueblo areas in New Mexico and Arizona, if they have very high incidence of obesity, because you take them out of an environment where they could survive with very little nutrient intake, and you put them in a place where there's, you got French fries everywhere, that you're going to put weight on.
Gotcha.
But I'm impressed by the soul of that man. That guy is going to do things to help a lot of people.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, my kids rarely tell me they want to come to the show. They were mad when they found out that he was on. I didn't tell them.
He's very inspirational.
Yeah. So if he's influencing my kids and getting other kids as well, then God bless him. And he has done the right things for his health. He's had a couple health scares. He talked about the alopecia he had, which is he lost little parts of his beard.
That's just a gray. Khaled just needs to accept it.
No, it's not gray. He lost the hair.
Okay.
And that happens from stress. There's some things that happen to our skin and our hair when we're stressed out. Vitiligo is an example. Right, vitiligo is when you have these little white spots on your skin.
Terrence J has that, right?
He has that on his face.
Yeah, Michael Jackson we think had that, right?
Too, yeah.
So now that's associated with how your body is dealing with stress because your immune system is attacking your own cells.
Oh, I didn't know vitiligo had to do with stress. I always thought that was just a hereditary.
It's genetic. There's a genetic element, but the genetic element is that it allows your immune system to attack your skin.
Okay.
It's not. There are many problems that are worse than that.
Is alopecia reversible?
And if it's the kind of alopecia that DJ Khaled had, yes, because it's primarily stress related. Women get alopecia with childbirth.
Yeah.
After surgery, you'll get alopecia, but usually about 3 months later, because it takes that long for the hair to start the old hair to die off. The new ones aren't ready to come in yet.
A lot of women get it after having a child, too.
Around pregnancy.
That's what I'm on your show talking about: skin and skin bleaching
and pregnancy.
Not pregnancy, but yeah.
Now I have a question.
You did the interesting thing, but just to talk for 1 second, the skin bleaching is a big issue for me, for Charlamagne, for me because Charlamagne talked beautifully about his own path to this. But I still don't understand.
Oh, not path to skin bleaching, because I didn't bleach.
Yes,
but
path
yes.
to recovering his skin.
There you go.
He didn't have to bleach, and which was very effective. But I still don't understand why African Americans bleach their skin. And you said
know.
it, yeah, but you said it quite nicely, and I think it was like good for everyone to hear that you like what you're born with.
Yeah, I love my skin. I want my skin to be healthier, but I don't want to be another complexion.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
He was a couple complexions at one time.
But then
No,
why
I
do
wasn't.
people
Yes, he was.
tan?
Yeah, you was dark hair. You was light hair.
No, you said you were 50 Shades of Black.
50 Shades of Black.
That's
Yeah.
what he said. That was his line.
Hold on, you brought up a good point. Ask that question again, you.
I said, why do people tan then? Because I know I like to get a tan. When
I don't get tanning. And yes, it makes you look.
I think it's a nice glow.
Yeah, it makes you
But
glow.
I do always put on a good amount of sunblock and everything, but I still like to get a little tint of color.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. But for me, a tint of color is different from looking like you're a whole different complexion. You should look like your normal color with a little tan on it, not so different colors you can't tell.
Right.
And so in Turkey, where my family's from, my cousins, when they die in the sun too much, their dads would give them a hard time because they would change their complexion. They would look like a different basic skin tone.
Look Cuban.
They look Cuban, right? The Turks have sort of a little bit darker skin anyway, so it's like olive. It takes to a darker olive color.
Right, you probably tan quickly.
Yeah, and we tan quickly. So it became an issue culturally. I just noticed that they'd be pulled out of the sun. But I think most of us, I always put sunblock on my face, my ears, my neck, back of my hands, right? But I don't usually put sunblock on my chest and my back until I've seen a little bit of sun, because you do want the vitamin D from the sun exposure.
Right.
So I think we all naturally expect a little bit of a glow from the sun because it means you're getting some vitamin D.
But then they say the sun ages you, though. Like they say
Yeah,
you
that's
need
why I
it.
put the sunblock on my face and my
why you
ears
sunblock,
because
yeah.
like, if you show your ass to the sun, it's not going to age, and if it does, who cares, right? But you don't want your face being all
You don't
wrinkled
want to
up.
be young with an old looking ass.
Yeah, it's a good point. Actually, maybe it's okay.
Now I have a question. Now I have a friend who has a really bad issue with her boyfriend. Okay, he for some reason just
In her Dr. Oz
cannot have
over and
sex.
over.
He can't have sex.
God.
Now, what are some reasons that a man would not be able to have sex? Could
When
it-
you say that can have sex, it's a mechanical problem or a
Can't get
desire.
I don't know if he can't get hard, but he just doesn't ever want to have sex, and she feels like it could be like a weight issue. It could be
Diagnose him as
something
gay,
he's not
Dr. Oz.
telling
So
her.
I'm going to avoid Charlamagne's little tweet there.
Self-esteem.
So women always blame themselves, but 80% of the time it's the men. And there are different problems that men have. So some of it is emotional, but a lot of it's physical. And if you're not eating the right kind of food, especially if men have a little bit of extra fat on board, that fat converts the testosterone that's made by your testicles into estrogen. That's why men get man boobs when they get heavy. And so without testosterone, your libido will drop, your desire to be intimate will go down. So the number one tool we have for getting people to be attracted to each other is getting them to lose weight. And the rule of thumb is for every 30 pounds or so you lose, you gain 1 inch of length because you can see it again.
That is a fact. Yes, that is a fact.
girth.
Now, so listen, when I go to GNC, I always get the healthy testosterone multivitamin packs of vitamins. Is that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's no testosterone in the multi-pack. It's they give you supplements that are designed to increase your testosterone.
Got you.
But you got plenty of testosterone already. And the way you can tell if your testosterone is okay is look at your bodily hair. If you have to shave as much as you had to shave when you're 18, you have plenty of testosterone.
Got
right?
you.
So I'm not talking about baldness. I'm talking about just facial hair.
Facial hair, right.
For women, it's their leg hair. If you don't have to shave your legs anymore, then you have less testosterone.
Okay.
And so with time, as you get older, you do shave less. And so our testosterone levels naturally drop. You just don't want them to drop faster than usual. And if you do, and one of the symptoms is low sex drive. So I think he should be evaluated for his testosterone level. If it's related to a weight issue, then they give him a pill to prevent the fat from turning off the testosterone. If his levels are low for other reasons, then they can give him a cream to help with that as well. And at least start with that. But do
Right.
not just read it off to an emotional issue.
Because he's embarrassed. I think she said he won't go to the doctor. Or anything.
Exactly. Men get embarrassed about that. Listen, shame is a major cause of illness in America because we get ashamed about stuff we shouldn't be. Charlamagne, you could have been ashamed of your skin.
Why?
Because it was 50 shades, but you
bad.
didn't, right? So you went out and found a solution. So but people always have problems that they are a little bit ashamed about because they think they're
Right,
supposed to be
everybody.
perfect, and we're not supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to be good enough.
Especially when it comes to stuff like sex, though, because as a man, we feel like that's what defines us as men.
manhood.
It's exactly
Yeah.
your manhood.
Now he's just not having sex at all because he just feels
Right.
like
Let's not rule
he's
out gay,
he's
though.
avoiding
No,
it.
we don't want to rule that out. Charlamagne's right. Charlamagne, Jesus. Okay, so I got a little test for you. So we're doing a big show on Alzheimer's today.
Okay.
And there's a new test that can use your smell to figure out if you've got Alzheimer's. So I'm gonna pass this to you. It's like a scratch and sniff. Doctors are gonna start using this in their office. So scratch that, and then tell me which of those options there does it smell like. She's smiling. She's like getting she thinks she's buying a perfume.
It smells like strawberry.
Was that one of the options?
Yes.
Let me smell this. Let me see. What do you think? You think it's strawberry? Charlamagne's trying it right now. He's got a very suspicious look to him as he smells.
It smells like more of a chocolate to me.
What the heck's wrong with you?
Like a cherry, like cherry chocolate.
Let's just call it strawberry chocolate.
Like, no, like you know the chocolate that be having the cherries in it. That's what it smells like.
All right. Well,
Chocolate covered strawberries?
yes.
No, cherries.
No, chocolate covered cherries.
Cherries.
Oh my
What do
goodness.
they call them?
Cordials, exactly right.
Yeah,
Cheryl pointed it out. All right, so this is supposed to be strawberry, and it smells like it to me and to you, but to you, obviously, it's chocolate. This chocolate's one of the other options, so he looked at the answers.
Oh, I did? I
Yes.
didn't see it.
looked at the
Does it
color,
smell
I
like a
think.
dill pickle to you?
No.
Good, thank you. All right, so it turns out your sense of smell changes pretty early when you have mental problems.
So Charlamagne has
Give me a
mental
fresh one. I don't want no. I don't want. I
Charlamagne
want a
has
fresh
mental
one.
problems?
I'm coming back. Just spell that. We'll do
This
quality
is
control.
Very accurate.
Definitely strawberry.
Thank you very much.
But see that I don't. First of all,
give
let's
it
be
back to
clear.
me.
I'm
Come
gonna
on
be
now.
totally honest about something. I don't know what the hell strawberries smell like.
All right.
What?
Here. Okay.
Give me
Now,
a fresh one.
I'm giving you one. This is cedar.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
No,
No,
you're
you
not,
have
you
to
can look.
choose.
Okay.
Is it cedar, gasoline, lemon, or root beer? Okay.
That's a very different smell, Charlamagne.
Now, people at home, if you can't smell mint mouthwash, that's the kind of thing I'm talking
No, he
about.
can't smell it.
Root beer.
Let me smell. Let me
He
smell.
has mental issues.
Let me smell. Let me smell. Let me
I'm
smell.
going to. Root beer? Are you
Oh
kidding
my
me?
gosh.
That
you
smells like
guys,
root beer to you?
He definitely has mental issues. I knew it.
That is not root
That
beer.
doesn't smell like root beer.
Look at the answers. The answer key
Smells
there.
like.
Charlamagne, oh
Smells
no.
like. I want to say cedar.
Yes, of course it's cedar. Give me
I
that
don't know
back
what the
to
hell
me.
cedar is.
Oh my goodness.
The hell is cedar?
We got a different problem
I
here.
know Cedar. I used to watch that show on BET when it used to come on. She was
Oh
funny.
It
gosh.
smells like wood.
Yeah. Smell this
Okay,
thing. What are you
yeah.
talking about? Smell that thing.
Uh-oh.
It didn't smell like that when I first sniffed
Did you
it.
scratch it?
man.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, I know how to scratch it.
Well, yeah, see, they got it's a scratch.
Okay, give me one
You know
more.
when you get a
Dr.
magazine.
Ash, what can we do about Charlamagne
Okay,
now?
lemon, chocolate, root beer, or black pepper.
Scratch
I'm
it.
scratching it for you.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, now smell that.
All right,
Tell
here
me
we
what
go.
that smells like. My
He smells
goodness.
lemon.
I'm about to diagnose him with Alzheimer's. I'm taking him with me to the hospital. We're going to the hospital right from here. He's not just eating the paper. You don't
I'll
eat the
be
damn
honest with you, I
thing.
have no idea what the hell that is, yo.
Let's take him right now, Doc.
Lemon?
No, come on. That is so easy.
Lemon?
No, it's not. I'm not saying it because I want them to all get it. You're going to get that in a second.
Chocolate.
Let me smell.
The smell is gone already. It disappeared already. Yeah. It smelled like pepper to me.
Pepper?
Yeah, that was pepper.
It smells like chocolate to me.
I know, but the
Nah, I
smell
don't
was
smell
gone.
pepper.
Yeah, the smell was gone by the time. We all have Alzheimer's.
Let the record show it
Pretty
be.
much.
I want the record show to be fun to sniff cocaine with y'all. Like
Okay,
we all did
jeez.
that really cool, passing it
Yeah,
around. Like,
this is the final test. Are you ready? We got menthol, apple, gingerbread, or cheddar cheese.
What's it?
Now, okay?
Come on,
Is it really
Charlamagne.
sniffing?
Oh,
Yes.
man.
You gotta
this
pass
is
this one.
terrible.
Go quick. Go quick.
He didn't get not one right.
All right.
what was the choices?
Smell. We'll give you a choice. All right.
No, I
the
couldn't
four
see.
of us.
Oh, I know what it is.
What was the
All right,
choices?
what are the
I
choices?
needed a second.
Smell like gingerbread.
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 Oh, come on, Charlamagne. God,
I started to
smell
say
that.
menthol. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, gosh.
Gingerbread.
You know what gingerbread looks like? That's terrible.
That
It
is a-
still smells like gingerbread.
That's the scratch
All
and
right,
sniff
well,
test.
so what can we do about
hard.
Here,
Charlamagne
smell
now
that.
that we
Smell that. Just put that up to the camera.
so we know?
All right. Oh, my goodness. Well, Charlamagne needs a formal neurologic evaluation.
Oh my
So
goodness.
should we bring him in? What can we do?
I think he needs a rectal exam right now. I'm getting my gloves right here. You got
I'll
it.
take care of this
You
one
know
now.
what? We're gonna do it together.
I'm gonna put some
But
cholesterol. in
first of all,
his
just be clear about this. You know why you need two fingers for rectal exam?
Why?
Second opinion.
we can get a third and fourth opinion today.
butt. All right,
no
so let's do
record.
it. We're gonna give Charlamagne a rectal exam.
This is the sound.
I like that.
A
sound.
lot of
snapping
horror
li-
movies have started with that sound.
Now let me ask you a question, Doc.
Charlamagne, bend over. We need you to cough.
Bend over. Now,
You guys have lubricant here? We don't need any.
You know,
got lotion.
no, that's
Shit.
interesting you say that, because this is a pastor named James Manning, and he says that.
Oh, my
No,
God.
seriously, he says that penetration of the penis in the anus will cause the butthole to burst into flames. Is that true?
No, not true.
If you're lucky.
I'm always surprised people say that kind of stuff. It's bizarre. No.
let me ask you a question about women having babies. What is a safe age, or when should women stop trying to have children?
There's no age you shouldn't have a child after. The risks to the mother and the child go up after age 35.
After 35?
After 35, the chance of you getting pregnant goes down and pretty quickly. And by age 40, it becomes a real challenge. You know, I tell you,
Even if women freeze their eggs?
no. That's what I was going to say. I think women should realize, I'm going to say this really honestly, and I always get in trouble when I say this, but it's just the truth. The best age, theoretically, not for you, but theoretically, the best age to have a baby is 30.5 years of age.
30.5.
Yeah, and the reason it's been said that is because your earning power has gotten to a place where it's good enough. It's not perfect. You're going to make more money later in life maybe, but you're making enough money, and your fertility level is still high enough that it's easy to make babies. After 30 and a half, you're paying a penalty. You might make more money, but it's harder to get pregnant.
What if I'm just trying to trap a baller after 30?
Trap a ball.
Trap a baller, like somebody with some money.
Trap a baller. Yes.
Trap a baller.
Yeah, that's fine. But then you're probably less than 30. But again, the bigger.
But you wouldn't say you can't have kids if you get pregnant. You just have to be careful if you're over 35.
You're just gonna be. Well, once getting pregnant is the problem after 35. But you're medically going to be fine.
Right.
After 40, it becomes a bit more of a problem for the doctors around you because they got to be more careful about the complications that might happen to you and the baby.
I think it's a lot of celebrities got women gas because it's a lot of celebrities having babies older.
Yeah, and most of that is in vitro fertilization. And a lot of time it's not their eggs because your eggs stop becoming as fertile. You're born with all your eggs, right? So they're not as fertile when you get into your 40s. It's harder to use them to make healthy fetuses. So eventually you end up using surrogates. So what I tell women, including my own daughters, is by age 30, you ought to really, really be thinking about freezing your eggs. In the old days, you couldn't do that, right? Because you couldn't, you had to inseminate the egg. You didn't know who you're going to inseminate it with. But now you can freeze your egg at 30, find the man of your dreams at 40, and put the egg inside of you at 50 and still have the baby.
Oh.
You think that's what Janet Jackson did?
Yeah,
So all women should freeze their eggs if they want a child by the age of 30.
Unless you already have kids.
You have the option. The thing is, in America, we've told a little bit of a lie to women. We said, listen, you have equal rights, right? So you get the same pay, not true. You get the same ability to prosper, not quite, but you do have a chance at it. You're equal under the eyes of the law, but you're not equal biologically because your fertility is dropping. So a man can delay having a family until he's in his 40s. A woman can't do it so readily. The ability to freeze your eggs evens that playing field out. It makes it easier for you to decide when you want to make those big moves in life.
Gotcha.
You don't feel the biological clock ticking down and dictating what you got to do.
Can you breastfeed at 50? Do the breast still make milk at that age?
I don't know if the breasts work as well, but I know the uterus does.
Gotcha.
You got to be on hormones so you can carry the baby, and it's your biological baby with the man you love.
Gotcha.
Now, doctor, I went to the doctor for this last week. My leg is still falling asleep on the toilet, and it's always just the left leg. I elevate it and everything, and it seems to only happen on one toilet. That's the toilet upstairs in my house.
I think you have sciatica.
What is that?
I think that you're compressing a nerve when you sit on that particular toilet. Are your legs higher or lower on that toilet?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So if people have constipated, I tell them to put 2 books or blocks under their legs when they sit in the toilet. It raises their knees up a little bit so they squat more. But sometimes when people squat more or they don't squat enough, it's not quite the right angle. You compress one of the nerves in your buttocks. And when you compress that nerve, your leg will fall asleep.
Isn't it, aren't we sitting wrong? Shouldn't we be squatting?
Yes, we should be squatting more. That's why a lot of people are constipated. When you squat, you open up the anal canal. You straighten it out.
I don't have these problems.
They said that women should squat when they have babies. Is that
should
true?
stand up. We had a brother named Brother Polite here. Great urban scholar. You should check him out.
So wait a minute.
Brother Polite?
So they should squat when they have children.
It's naturally how babies would come out, and it opens up the space. It's just, I've always thought that when you have women lie on their back, it actually
makes it harder for the baby to come out.
Yeah, it makes it harder. On the other hand, with epidurals and better monitoring, and it's easier for the doctor to help get the baby out. So it's a trade-off. So you don't lose a lot, and that's how we still do it. But yeah, in theory, you should. I mean, look, a lot of women have their babies in water, right? They're in a tub. They squat down. The baby comes out in water, which is sort of cool because we're this weird species. We probably came out of the water, went back into the water, and came back out again. We're these aquatic mammals because we can bear children in water.
You believe in mermaids?
Of course, everyone does. You don't?
What about Santa?
A little bit.
Of course, everyone does.
No,
Virginia.
There you go.
So women should stand up when they have babies.
No, I think. Biologically,
it would come out easier.
It would come out easier.
Why don't they do that? Because it would seem like they make you walk around.
I know, because it's
and
hard.
Make you lay down.
Well, because once the baby's starting to come out, most women appreciate having a little bit of help. And when you're lying on your back, the doctor can push around the cervix. They can open the space up a little bit. They can lubricate the opening so the babies can slip through a little more easily. So,
and if you have an epidural, wouldn't it be hard to stand up? Would you be a little woozy?
You could be both woozy, and depending, not all epidurals are perfect. You can get some muscle weakness as well. if it's not perfect. So
you'd be like Hillary. They'd be falling around, people trying to help you.
Now, let me ask you one last question. We were talking about this on the news this morning about a man who was a doctor, and he was a fertility doctor, and he used his own sperm in all these women. He's like 77 years old, and it turns out he used his sperm in like 50 different cases with different women. And now, of course, people have an issue with that because they didn't know it was his sperm.
Yeah.
But he felt like he was helping these women because they did have kids and everything like that. What kind of ethical law is that breaking?
You have an obligation as a doctor to be really transparent with your patients. If I own the product and I was selling it to, I got to tell you. If I'm using my sperm in you, I got to tell you. If I'm doing a procedure that's never been done before, it's called informed consent. So informed consent means to inform you about what really should matter for you to know. I don't tell you everything because I don't want to confuse you, but telling you that the sperm came from me is
creepy.
It's valuable for you to know.
Right.
You might be okay with it.
That's a nice little come up.
You might like it, but you have a choice, and you should know about it. So it violates the basic code. Right. And listen, when you go through medical school, you don't just learn medicine. You learn a culture. You learn values. And when you get the MD degree after your name, you're obliged to follow that. The reason we fire students who cheat so quickly is not because we think they can't fix the cheating, but we think that when they're gone out of school, they'll cheat again, and this time patients will be hurt.
Right.
So you have to have a pretty firm ethical foundation.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, why is syphilis and gonorrhea and chlamydia becoming untreatable?
There are resistant strains of some of these. Most of them are not untreatable. Most of them you make plenty of advances on. But there are some categories which are problematic.
Like a super gonorrhea?
Yeah, but I mean, but if you don't if you're given a 10-day course of antibiotics, and you only take 5 days of it, you kill the weak bacteria, but you don't kill the strong ones. So the strong ones come back and they're supercharged. They're more powerful than they were before.
Sheesh.
That's why we want you to take the full course
like
of antibiotics.
Gremlins.
Because you're not really living life until you get you on STD that can be cured.
No.
Yeah, that's a whole different level. Yeah, but then you get stenoses of the urethra. You have all kinds of bad things then. You don't want that.
Doc, there's only one last thing to do before you leave. Put your glove on.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Charlamagne. Come on.
Charlamagne,
come on over.
Come on.
Envy, why you want to be in my ass so bad, bro?
Because we're trying to make sure that you're healthy.
He's trying to help. Don't you understand? The man is trying to help you.
Please?
But it's an issue because Charlamagne has some smelling issues, and we don't know what that's caused by.
Smelling
The kind of
issues?
exam we're going to do, we're going to touch
things.
his, we're going to touch his brain eventually. Come on. This is going to go in. We're going to listen. We're going to examine your brain.
I'm going to see. I'm going to call your bluff. I'm going to go ahead. What you going to do? What you going to do, Envy?
Go
What
ahead.
you going to do, Dr. What y'all going to do?
Do it.
I want to call some bluff.
Come on, Dr. Envy.
I don't see ain't no fingers in my ass yet.
He scared us off.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right.
Too real.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
Keeping real goes wrong. Thank you, Dr. Oz.
Well, his
Love
fist
you guys.
slid right in.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in.